For 1,238 years, deep under the oldest fortress of the Galactic Concord, there existed a corridor that no one wished to enter. The corridor was built from dark iron plates, each one older than most living civilizations. The air inside always felt heavy, like time itself rested on every corner. Lights flickered gently along the walls, but they were not meant to guide visitors. They were only meant to warn them. At the end of this silent corridor stood a wide door with ancient markings on its metallic surface. These symbols came from a time when humans were still new to the stars. Long ago, when the early ships of Earth first joined the galactic community, humans made something powerful, something grand, something they later learned to fear. And so this door became a reminder of their past. Behind it lived the one they called the Dragon. For more than 1,000 years, no one approached that door. Many younger species in the galaxy believed the stories were exaggerated. Some believed the dragon was only a legend, a tale created by humans to make themselves sound more important. Others believed the dragon had died long ago and that the cell remained locked only out of tradition. But there were also those who knew better, older races, historians, and scholars who had read the hidden logs of humanity's early expansion. They knew the truth, and humanity knew it best. Human records describe the dragon as a living guardian, created during the first expansion age. It was not a monster, nor a wild creature from myth. It was a highly advanced being born from a mix of bioengineering, quantum science, and ancient human imagination. Its shape resembled the old Earth legends, a large, majestic creature with wings glowing like distant stars and eyes that could see through dimensions. Yet the dragon was more than appearance. It carried wisdom, memory, and incredible power enough to end wars in hours. Humanity created the dragon to defend the galaxy, not to rule it. But as centuries passed, its power became too great. Many feared what it could become if left without control. So, after a final great conflict long ago, the dragon agreed to a peaceful imprisonment. It chose to sleep behind the iron door until the galaxy faced a danger too strong for any fleet. The agreement was simple. Wake me only if the galaxy truly stands at the edge of destruction. People respected this promise. For over 1,000 years, the dragon slept. The iron door stayed closed. The corridor stayed empty. But on the 1,238th year, everything changed. The fortress stood on a moon called Harian 4, quiet and peaceful until that day. Life around the fortress carried its usual rhythm. Workers maintained the machines. Guards walked their routes. Scientists filed their reports. Even the sky above the moon seemed calm, glowing with soft blue light. Then came the first signal. A sudden alarm echoed through the fortress, a deep, rising tone. It came from the top tower, where scanners watched distant stars. The alarm was not common. It was one used only when something large, unknown, and silent was moving across space. At first, no one understood what it meant. The younger officers gathered around the main screens, pointing at strange flickering waves on the display. "What is that?" one of them asked. "It looks like a system-wide energy drop," another answered. "But this reading is impossible. Entire regions of space don't lose power at the same time. It must be an error," someone suggested. But the senior chief shook his head slowly. He had seen this pattern only once in his long life. He leaned forward with deep concern in his eyes. "This is no error," he said. "This is a warning." Within hours, news traveled through the Galactic Concord. Reports came from multiple star systems, planets suddenly going silent, stations losing communication without signs of battle, entire colonies disappearing as if swallowed by darkness. Ships that were sent to investigate never returned. People began whispering the same name, one that had appeared only a few times in ancient logs. The Veil Swarm. No living leader had seen it. No modern fleet had faced it. Most species thought it was only a myth, like a dark shadow told around meeting tables, meant to remind civilizations of their smallness in the universe. But myths often began from truth, and the truth was returning. The Concord called for an emergency council session. Representatives from all major worlds arrived, tall figures, short figures, humans, insect-like beings, crystal-skinned diplomats, and floating life forms whose bodies shimmered with soft colors. They gathered inside the crescent-shaped hall, anxious and uncertain. A large holoscreen displayed the spreading darkness across the star map. One system disappeared, then another, then another. The pattern was slow but unstoppable. Humyn Envoy Commander Leora Hayes sat quietly among the council members. She studied the map with a serious expression. Her hair was tied back neatly, her uniform straight and well-kept. But her eyes revealed the weight she carried. She had read every restricted file about the Dragon Project since childhood. She knew what lay beneath Harian 4, and she knew what this pattern meant. When the Grand Speaker asked for solutions, many offered ideas. We must send more fleets. We need stronger energy shields. Maybe the swarm can be reasoned with. We should evacuate the outer rings. We must hide until we know more. But every suggestion failed when tested against the map. The Veil Swarm advanced without leaving debris, without communication, without weakness. Finally, the Grand Speaker turned to Commander Hayes. "Humyn Envoy," he said. "Your records show humanity has a weapon from ancient times. Is this only rumor or truth?" Many eyes turned toward her, some hopeful, some afraid. Commander Hayes stood slowly. "It is not a weapon," she corrected calmly. "It is a guardian, and it is not ours alone. It was created for the galaxy, not just for humanity. Is it dangerous?" One diplomat asked. "It can be," Hayes answered honestly, "but only to those who attack without reason. Can it stop the swarm?" Commander Hayes looked at the map once more. The darkness spread like ink across the stars, quiet and unstoppable. She breathed in deeply before speaking. "If anything can help us understand this threat, or confront it, it is the dragon." The room fell silent. No one had spoken that word in any council meeting for centuries. Later that night, the fortress on Harian 4 received a single message from the Concord Council. "Prepare the dragon cell. A human representative will arrive at dawn." That representative was Commander Hayes herself. When her ship landed, the fortress staff felt a wave of tension roll through the air. Even those who did not believe the stories sensed something important was happening. Hayes walked through the halls without hesitation. Her steps were quiet yet decisive. The deeper she went into the fortress, the colder the air became. Not physically cold, but heavy with quiet history. The walls grew thicker. The lights dimmed. Guards accompanied her, though none wanted to get too close. When they reached the ancient corridor, the guards stopped. "This is as far as we go," the lead guard said in a respectful voice. Hayes nodded. "Thank you. I'll continue alone." She stepped into the corridor, and the sound of her boots echoed. The air felt deeper, almost like sound itself was afraid to move. The long line of lights flickered softly above her, guiding her toward the massive door at the end. The symbols on the iron door seemed to glow faintly as she approached, as if reacting to her presence. She lifted her hand and brushed her fingers across the markings. They felt warm, almost alive, for a moment. She closed her eyes and remembered the oath humanity made long ago. The dragon was not to be awakened lightly. It was not a tool to be used. It was a being of great wisdom, deserving respect, but the galaxy was in danger. Countless lives were at risk. Entire civilizations might vanish if nothing was done. She opened her eyes. "It's time," she whispered. She pressed the activation panel. The iron door shook gently, dust falling from centuries-old hinges. The corridor lights brightened. The ground vibrated beneath her feet. Slowly, the massive door slid open, revealing a soft glow from inside the chamber. For the first time in 1,238 years, someone had dared to enter the dragon's cell. Commander Hayes took a deep breath and stepped inside, ready to face the ancient guardian and ready to ask for its help. Commander Leora Hayes stood at the threshold of the dragon's chamber, the door still echoing from its slow opening. A soft, golden light spilled out from inside, gentle yet powerful, like sunlight filtered through ancient crystal. The air inside felt warmer than the cold iron corridor behind her. It was as if the chamber still breathed, even after 1,000 years. She stepped forward carefully. The floor beneath her boots was smooth stone, carved with circular patterns that glowed faintly under her weight. Each step awakened a soft ripple of light across the floor, tracing paths of energy toward the center of the chamber. There, resting within a ring-shaped basin, lay the dragon. Its body was curled gracefully, wings folded close like giant glowing blankets. Its scales shimmered with colors that shifted slowly: gold, silver, and faint traces of blue, like stars seen through deep water. Its long tail curled around itself, and its head lay resting on its front legs. For a moment, Hayes simply watched. She had imagined this moment countless times during her studies, but the reality was far more awe-inspiring. The dragon did not look threatening. It looked peaceful, almost gentle, but the quiet power within it could be felt like a soft pressure in the air. She approached slowly, making sure her footsteps were soft. She remembered the old rules: show respect, speak honestly, and do not fear. She stopped a few meters away and bowed her head. "Guardian," she said gently, "I am Commander Leora Hayes of the Galactic Concord." And of Earth, for a long moment, the chamber stayed silent. Then, faintly, the dragon's tail twitched. Hayes felt her heart quicken. The air shimmered. A soft hum rose from the glowing patterns on the floor. Slowly, the dragon opened one eye. Its eye was a deep, clear gold, filled with intelligence and calm awareness. It focused on Hayes with a steady gaze, as if studying her thoughts. She felt no threat, only curiosity. The dragon lifted its head slightly. "Humyn." The voice echoed through the chamber, not through sound, but through a gentle vibration in the air. It was neither loud nor soft, but carried the weight of ancient memory. Hayes swallowed carefully and stepped forward with courage. "Yes," she answered. "I have come to speak with you." The dragon blinked once, slowly. "It has been a long time. More than 12 centuries. Why have you opened my door?" Hayes felt the heaviness of the moment. She spoke clearly. "The galaxy is in danger. A force known as the Veil Swarm has returned." The dragon's wings shifted slightly, sending ripples of light across the walls. "The swarm," it murmured. "I hope never to hear that name again." Hayes nodded. "It is spreading. Systems are disappearing. Ships are not returning. We cannot stop it." The dragon lifted itself slowly, unfolding its wings just enough for their brilliant edges to glow brighter. Its eyes sharpened with ancient understanding. "The swarm does not destroy," it said. "It consumes. It moves in silence. It leaves no trace." Hayes felt a chill. "Yes, that is exactly what we are seeing." The dragon lowered its head slightly, looking deep into Hayes' eyes. "And the Concord wants my help." Hayes did not deny it. "Yes, the Council has agreed to ask for your guidance and your strength, if you choose to give it." The dragon remained still for a moment. The chamber's glow softened, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Finally, the dragon spoke again. "Why did they send you, Humyn?" Hayes breathed slowly. "Because humans created you. Because you remember us. And because I volunteered." The dragon tilted its head, a spark of emotion flickering in its eyes. "You came willingly?" "Yes," Hayes answered without hesitation. "The galaxy needs you, and I will not let fear stop me from asking for your help." The dragon watched her carefully. Hayes could feel its mind studying her courage, her intention, her sincerity. The dragon valued honesty more than power. That much she knew. Finally, the dragon nodded slowly. "You have a strong heart." Then it rose. Its wings unfurled in a slow, majestic sweep, filling the chamber with glowing patterns. The energy on the floor brightened, flowing into the dragon's scales. Dust lifted gently from the ancient stone as if stirred by a quiet wind. The dragon stretched its neck, shook its wings once, and stood at its full height. Hayes felt so small, for the dragon was 4 times taller than any ship hangar gate she had walked through. Yet the dragon's presence did not feel frightening. It felt protective, powerful, and wise. "I will hear the full story," the dragon said. "Then I will decide." Hayes nodded and began to speak. For the next hour, Hayes explained everything she knew. She described the signals, the silent systems, the missing fleets, the fear spreading across the Concord. She spoke of the council meeting, the debates, the questions, and the desperate hope that awakening the dragon might bring answers. The dragon listened without interruption. Sometimes its tail moved slightly, sometimes its wings shifted, but it stayed calm and focused the entire time. When Hayes finished, the chamber fell quiet again. "This is not a simple threat," the dragon finally said. The swarm rises only when something disturbs the deeper layers of the universe. Something must have awakened it. Hayes frowned. Awakened it, you mean? The swarm was asleep? Not asleep, the dragon corrected. Dormant, watching, waiting. Hayes thought about this. Do you know how to fight it? The dragon lowered its head until its eyes were level with hers. No single being can defeat the swarm, but I can guide your forces. Teach them. Stand with them. That is what I was created for. Hope flickered inside Hayes. Then you will help? The dragon did not answer immediately. It stepped closer to the chamber's edge, touching the ground gently with its claws. The walls lit up brighter, responding to its motion. To help, the dragon said slowly, I must be free. Hayes blinked. Free as in, leave the chamber? This prison was a choice, the dragon explained. A resting place until the galaxy needed me again. Now it needs me. Hayes nodded respectfully. Then we will open the final seals. Not yet, the dragon said softly. There is something I must ask you first. Hayes stood straight. Ask anything? The dragon's gaze softened. Will the galaxy trust me? Hayes breathed deeply. She thought of the council room, the worried faces, the confused diplomats, the arguments, the fear. Then she thought of the disappearing systems, the silent planets, the danger growing every hour. No, she admitted honestly, not all of them. Some fear you, some doubt you, some don't understand what you are. The dragon did not seem surprised. It closed its wings slowly, but Hayes added with firmness, they will trust you when they see what you stand for. When they see you help us. The dragon studied her expression, then nodded slowly. Very well. I will trust your judgment. Humyn. Let the seals be opened. Hayes tapped her communicator. Control room. This is Commander Hayes. Begin releasing the secondary locks. A voice answered nervously. Understood. Commander. Releasing now. A loud rumble shook the chamber. Massive clamps unlatched from the walls. Thick chains retracted into the floor. The glowing patterns brightened until they filled the room with warm, golden light. The dragon spread its wings fully for the first time in centuries. Hayes stepped back in awe. The chamber could barely contain its size. The air vibrated with energy, like a storm preparing to break free. After more than 1,000 years, the dragon said quietly, I rise again. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, fear grew stronger each day. On the edge of the Concorde's territory, stations turned dark one after another. Refugee ships filled with frightened citizens traveled toward the inner systems. Military fleets regrouped, but no one knew what they were preparing for. The Veil Swarm's pattern was unpredictable, moving like drifting shadows through star systems. News channels broadcast warnings. Scientists worked in panic. Leaders held emergency meetings every few hours. Some whispered in fear, nothing can stop the swarm. Others whispered in hope, humanity has opened the dragon's cell. Rumors spread quickly. Many believed the dragon was just a story. Others prayed it was real, across planets and stations. Beings of every species looked toward the stars, hoping for a sign of safety. And deep under Harian 4. That sign was finally awakening. The dragon lowered its head toward Hayes. Take me to the surface. It said, it is time for the galaxy to see me once more. Hayes nodded. Feeling the rise of something powerful and hopeful inside her, she walked toward the exit, the dragon following with slow, graceful steps. The lights brightened as they moved, as if welcoming the return of a legend. For the first time in 1,238 years, the dragon walked freely, and the galaxy would soon know that its ancient guardian had awakened. When the dragon stepped out of the chamber for the first time in 1,238 years, the entire fortress seemed to hold its breath. Lights along the walls brightened automatically, reacting to the strong energy flowing from the dragon's wings. The ground felt warm under its steps, as if the ancient stones still remembered this creature's presence. Commander Leora Hayes walked ahead, guiding the dragon through the long passageways. She felt a strange mix of responsibility and awe. Every now and then, she glanced back to make sure the dragon was comfortable moving through the narrow corridors. But the dragon moved with careful grace. Its wings folded close to avoid touching the walls, and its steps were soft despite its size. It moved like someone waking from a long dream, slow at first, then steady. With purpose in every motion. As they walked, the dragon spoke quietly. The fortress has changed. Hayes nodded. Many renovations happened over the centuries, but we kept this area original, out of respect. The dragon hummed softly. Respect. Humanity still remembers its promises. Yes, Hayes said proudly. We do. They reached the end of the corridor. Ahead stood a large lift platform, built strong enough to carry heavy equipment. It would now carry something far more important. Hayes stepped aside so the dragon could move onto the platform. When it settled, Hayes activated the controls. Hold on, she said lightly. The lift rose slowly, carrying them upward through the fortress. Massive doors opened as the platform reached each level, and guards stepped back in wide-eyed silence as the dragon passed. No one spoke. No one dared. Some stared in awe, others in fear, but all understood they were witnessing something historic. The dragon remained calm. It lowered its head slightly to avoid scaring the guards. They are afraid, it observed. They don't know you, Hayes replied gently. But that will change. The dragon's golden eyes warmed. I hope so. The sky of Harian 4, when the lift finally reached the surface, the doors opened to a bright sky. Harian 4's atmosphere shimmered with pale blue light, and the horizon stretched with rocky plains and crystal formations that sparkled in the sunlight. The dragon stepped onto the open ground and lifted its head toward the sky. For a moment, it stayed completely still. Hayes watched quietly. What is it? She asked softly. The sky. The dragon whispered. It feels good to see it again. Hayes smiled, relieved. Welcome back. The dragon unfurled its wings slowly. The sunlight hit its scales, creating waves of shimmering gold and silver that danced across the surface of the fortress walls. A gentle wind swept across the plains. Dust swirled in soft circles. The dragon inhaled deeply, tasting the fresh air. The galaxy is still beautiful, it said. I had hoped it would be. The first tested transport ship approached, landing near the fortress. A group of Concord representatives stepped out, led by an Andrian diplomat with crystal blue skin. Their steps were slow and respectful, but their faces revealed uncertainty. The dragon's presence was overwhelming. Hayes walked over to meet them. This is the council team I told you about, she explained to the dragon. The dragon bowed its head politely. The lead diplomat stepped forward, hands trembling slightly. Great Guardian, they said softly, we greet you with peace. Peace is accepted. The dragon replied. The diplomat's voice shook. We request your aid. The Veil Swarm continues to advance. We have lost to more systems since yesterday. Hayes felt a heaviness in her chest. She hadn't known about those losses yet. The dragon lowered its wings thoughtfully. Bring me all information you have, every signal, every reading, every recording. I will examine them. The diplomats exchanged looks of surprise and relief. We will bring everything at once, one said. They hurried back to their ship. As if afraid to delay even a moment, Hayes remained with the dragon. You speak calmly, she noted. Calm is needed, the dragon replied. If I panic, the galaxy will panic. Hayes nodded in agreement. You're right. Inside the command tent within an hour, a temporary command tent was set on the plane. Screens lined the walls, showing star maps, damage reports, and energy readings. Scientists and officers from different species worked together, sharing data. The dragon entered the tent carefully. Even sitting on the ground, it was taller than everyone inside. But it lowered its wings and head so it appeared less intimidating. Hayes stood beside it as the data was projected onto a huge screen. This, a scientist said nervously, is the swarm's last recorded movement. A dark wave swept across the map, erasing entire star clusters in its path. The dragon watched in silence. Its eyes glowed faintly. This pattern. It murmured. It is familiar. Hayes leaned forward. You've seen it before? The dragon nodded. Long ago. Before the Concord was even born. Before many of these species existed. The room went quiet. Even the machines seemed to hum more softly. The swarm does not act randomly. The dragon continued. It is searching for something. Hayes frowned. Searching? For what? The dragon did not answer immediately. It studied the map carefully, moving its claws over certain regions. Here, it said. And here. These are not targets, they are tests. Tests? A researcher echoed. Yes, the dragon explained. The swarm moves to measure the strength of this galaxy. It watches how you react. It learns. A chill passed through the tent. Hayes felt the seriousness of the moment. What did it want last time? She asked quietly. The dragon's gaze darkened with memory. Not destruction, it said. Assimilation. It grows by absorbing other forms of energy. It grows by understanding them, Hayes whispered. So if we fight it, it only becomes stronger? If you fight it without strategy, yes. The room fell silent again. A new plan. Hayes straightened her posture. Then we need your guidance. Tell us how to face it. The dragon nodded. Double quotes first. Gather every ship with high energy shields. The swarm senses strong energy. If we hide the smaller colonies under low energy fields, they may go unnoticed. Scientists quickly wrote notes. Second, the dragon continued. Your weapons must not fire openly at the swarm. Its outer layers absorb power. So what do we do? Hayes asked. The dragon gently tapped the ground with one claw. I will teach your engineers how to create reverse phase pulses. These pulses will disrupt the swarm's inner core. Engineers exchanged excited looks. This was something new, something powerful. Third, the dragon said, I will join your fleets. Not to fight directly at first, but to shield them. My energy can confuse the swarm's senses. Hayes felt hope rising in her chest. That could actually work. The dragon nodded. With time, it will work. A personal momentous. The scientists continued their work. Hayes stepped outside to breathe. The sun was setting, casting orange light across the rocky plain. She heard soft footsteps behind her. The dragon approached slowly, its wing casting a long shadow across the ground. You seem troubled, it said gently. Hayes sighed. I'm just thinking about the responsibility. If we fail, billions could be lost. The dragon lowered its head to her level. And if we succeed, billions will live. Hayes smiled faintly. You always speak with balance. Balance is important, the dragon replied. Especially in dark times. They stood together, watching the sun disappear behind distant hills. Dragon, Hayes asked softly, are you afraid? The dragon considered her question. Yes, it admitted. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to act despite it. Hayes nodded. Then we'll act together. The dragon's eyes glowed warmly. Together, it agreed. The first flight that night, the dragon spread its wings and lifted into the sky for the first time in more than a millennium. Soldiers and scientists stepped outside to watch. The wind roared softly as its wings carried it upward. It circled above the fortress, glowing like a living star. Its scales lit the sky with shimmering golden trails. Hayes watched from the ground, feeling a mix of awe and determination. For the first time since the swarm appeared, hope filled the air. The dragon descended gracefully, landing beside Hayes. The galaxy will see me soon, it said, and it will see humanity standing beside me. Hayes placed a hand over her heart. We won't fail. The dragon looked toward the stars. Then let us begin, it said. Tomorrow, we prepare the fleets. And so the ancient guardian and humanity's envoy stood side by side, ready to face a darkness older than civilizations. The galaxy was waking to a new dawn, and the dragon would lead the way. The next morning, Harrienford was no longer a quiet moon. Ships from every corner of the Galactic Concord filled the sky. Their blue and white lights crossed the clouds like moving stars. Command teams rushed to and from the fortress, sending reports, preparing vessels, and loading new equipment. Hope had returned. But so had urgency. The Veil Swarm was still advancing, and worlds were running out of time. Commander Leora Hayes walked toward the main launch site, where the dragon stood among the ships. Its wings were half open, glowing softly in the morning sun. Engineers from different species surrounded it, studying energy signatures, scanning wing patterns, and designing new shield upgrades based on the dragon's guidance. The dragon seemed patient, answering every question calmly. Hayes approached. Everything ready? She asked. The dragon lowered its head slightly. Almost. Your engineers learn quickly. They had a good teacher. Hayes replied with a smile. The dragon's eyes warmed with gentle pride. Preparing the fleets, a large holographic map floated above the launch site. It showed the galaxy with glowing lines representing fleet routes. Hayes studied the map with several officers. The swarm has changed direction, an officer reported. It's heading toward the central ring. Hayes frowned. Toward the populated systems? Yes. The dragon stepped closer. It is no longer testing, it said. It is moving with purpose. It has sensed your defenses forming. Hayes crossed her arms. Then we need to move faster. The dragon took a slow breath. Your ships must form 3 layers. The first layer will carry the reverse phase pulses. The second will protect the civilians. The third layer will hide under low-energy shields. Hayes nodded and began giving orders. Officers rushed to their stations. Engineers activated shield generators. Pilots ran to their ships, their steps filled with determination. Across the plain, dozens of vessels hummed with rising power. The galaxy was preparing for a battle unlike any it had faced in centuries. The first test of strength when the fleets finally lifted into space. The dragon flew ahead of them, its wings leaving long streaks of gold across the darkness. Hayes sat in the command ship, watching the dragon glide effortlessly between the vessels. Commander, the pilot said, all fleets are in position. Hayes took a breath. Send the signal to the Concorde. Tell them we're moving to intercept the swarm. Yes, ma'am. The dragon's voice resonated through the ship communicator. Humanity leads today. The galaxy follows. Hayes felt a surge of pride. Let's show them what unity looks like. She replied. The ships jumped into hyperspace, streaking across the stars toward the nearest threatened system, the dead system. When they arrived, they found a silent planet floating in darkness. Once a bright and busy colony, now it looked like a frozen marble. No light, no signals, no sign of life. A dense cloud of black and silver particles moved slowly across the planet, like a storm made of shadows. The Veil Swarm. Hayes stared at it from the command bridge. Even from a distance, it looked unnatural. It's like the night itself is alive. One officer whispered. The dragon hovered beside the command ship. Do not fear the sight. It said calmly. Fear only in action. Hayes straightened. All ships, defensive positions. Prepare reverse phase pulses. The ships formed a wide arc. Energy built across their hulls, creating trembling white lines. The dragon closed its eyes and extended its wings. Do not fire yet, it instructed. Wait for the swarm to approach. Hayes nodded. Hold fire. Minutes passed. The swarm drifted closer, like a cloud searching for its next source of energy. The closer it came, the colder the surrounding space felt. Finally, the dragon opened its eyes. Now, Hayes raised her hand. Fire pulses. A wave of shimmering, swirling energy shot from the ships. The pulses collided with the swarm, causing its shadowy surface to ripple like disturbed water. Officers gasped. It's reacting. It's pulling back a little. The dragon's voice remained steady. Good. But this is only the beginning. The swarm strikes back. The swarm pulsed with dark light. Suddenly, tendrils of energy shot out, reaching for the ships. They were searching, scanning, trying to find strong sources of power to absorb. Shields up. Hayes commanded. The first layer of ships took the hit. Their shields sparked and flickered, but held. The second and third layers remained hidden. The dragon moved forward. As it spread its wings, a warm golden barrier formed around the fleets. The swarm's tendrils bent away, confused by the dragon's unique energy. Stay behind me, the dragon said. Its senses cannot understand my signature. Hayes watched in amazement. You're protecting all our ships at once. This is my purpose, the dragon replied softly. To stand with those who need me, turning the tide with the fleet safe. Hayes gave the next order. Send the second wave of pulses. This time the pulses struck deeper. The swarm trembled and twisted. More of its shadowy form scattered into fragments. It's weakening. An officer shouted. The dragon flew higher, its wings glowing brighter than ever before. I will confuse its core. Strike when I say. It soared straight into the heart of the shadow cloud. The darkness tried to surround it, but the dragon's glow pushed it back like a star breaking through a storm. The dragon roared not in anger, but in power, sending golden waves across the swarm. Now, It commanded. Hayes shouted. Full power. All ships, every vessel fired at once. Hundreds of pulses collided with the swarm in perfect unison. The entire shadow cloud twisted violently, then broke apart like dust in a strong wind. Light filled the system. The swarm's presence faded. The officers stared at their screens in shock. It's retreating. We did it. It's leaving the system. Hayes closed her eyes for a moment, overwhelmed with relief. The dragon landed on a nearby asteroid, wings folding gently. This system is safe, it said. But the swarm will return. Elsewhere? Hayes nodded. Then we'll go after it, together. A message to the Galactic Concord sent a message across all systems. Holoscreens lit up on planets, stations, and ships. A peaceful scene played, the dragon standing beside the human commander. Hayes stepped forward and spoke to billions. People of the galaxy, we are not powerless. We have an ancient ally by our side. Humanity stands with all of you. The dragon stands with all of us. Together, we will face the swarm. Together, we will not fall. The dragon bowed its head respectfully on the broadcast. Billions watched with awe and hope. For the first time since the swarm appeared, the galaxy believed survival was possible. Building a new alliance in the weeks that followed, the dragon worked closely with scientists and engineers. It taught them new ways of reading energy patterns, new methods of protecting planets, and new strategies for misleading the swarm's senses. Humans adapted quickest, learning how to design advanced reverse phase systems. Other species contributed their own knowledge navigation skills. Shield improvements, communication networks. A new alliance was forming, stronger than any before it. The dragon often told Hayes, "Unity is your greatest strength. You humans, you remind every species what courage looks like." Hayes always answered with a grateful smile. "We learned that from you too." The final push after many victories. The fleets tracked the swarm to a massive region of dark space. It was preparing for a final strike. But this time, the galaxy was ready. Hundreds of ships arrived. The dragon flew before them, glowing brighter than all their lights combined. Hayes stood at the front of the command bridge. "Today," she said, "we protect our future." The dragon rose into the darkness, "And I stand with you." The final battle was fierce, bright, and long, but the galaxy fought with unity and strategy. The dragon guided every move, shielding the fleets, confusing the swarm, and striking its core with ancient accuracy. At last, the swarm collapsed into harmless particles, drifting like fading dust across thousands of systems. Celebrations echoed. The galaxy survived. Thanks to humanity. Thanks to the dragon. Thanks to courage shared between species. A new dawn when peace finally returned. The dragon chose not to return to its cell. Instead, it remained free but loyal. It said to Hayes, "I will watch the stars. And when darkness rises again, call me. I will always answer humanity's voice." Hayes placed her hand on the dragon's warm scales. "And we'll always stand with you." The dragon lifted into the sky, wings glowing like a rising sun. And so, the legend began, the legend of the ancient guardian and the brave humans who awakened it, stood beside it, and led the galaxy to victory. Humanity had earned its place, not as conquerors, not as survivors, but as the heart of the galaxy's courage.